Ascension Report 144. Who control the awakening? Dearest brothers and sisters, greetings of the Most High. We come ahead now on this second of your time with much information to share about the current situation that we as a collective are going through at the moment. Are instances like this, it is actually important to keep in mind that a multidimensional chess game is being played, and there are currently multiple unique narratives being driven if you want to awaken the masses. At this conjuncture, it is imperative that we draw your interests to what's presently happening. We are bearing witness to what will be called the changing of the guard. And by using this, we are relating to the timeline that marks the quit of the age of darkish Yuga and the opening sunrise of the Golden Age. It is very difficult using the third dimensional English language to currently describe what's occurring currently, as there are so many timelines which might be activated at the moment that are vying for humanity's collective attention. Consequently, we would like to take this possibility to remind everybody approximately the imperativeness of wearing your region, your God-given interest and purpose. As a multidimensional avatar being, your recognition is almighty and all-effective, and anywhere your cognizance, your attention and intention will routinely empower and activate that timeline as a physical, realistic reality. The old powers that have been knew this, and this is why so much time, effort and fortune is poured into coercing your attention and dragging it into the lower timelines. Although the White Hats are in full manipulate and the Alliance has already won this struggle, this long drawn out struggle for humanity's recognition is still being played out in the decreased dimensional realms of attention. For example, if the governments of the world want to preserve you healthy and to maintain their national health services from becoming crushed, then wouldn't we all be reminded of the power and glory of our God-created immune systems, which, with the right environment, food, and supplements, are able to recorrect partially any imbalance in the physical device. We might not be informed to isolate ourselves from our cherished ones and put on masks that, after worn on an extended term basis, are extraordinarily detrimental to humanity's health. We are asking all of you who are vibrationally drawn to these words to preserve fast to the information deep for your soul that God has already received, that humanity has been liberated, that the deep state has as soon as end for all being defeated, and that what is gambling out is the mainstream media's remaining ditch try at massively decreasing humanity's collective vibration through their incessant and ridiculous worry-based narrative that extremely illogical and actually based totally in zero scientific truth. But of course, the third-dimensional narrative isn't always there to help humanity in any way whatsoever. On the contrary, what I can verify as an observer is that the timetable of the deep kingdom is not hiding the atrocities and is shoving it in all of our faces. It seems apparent to me that the white hats are in control, however, are waiting the subsequent wave of humanity to rouse out of their woe-betiding ignorance about the nefarious energetics that up to this point were governing our lovely sacred world. The white hats are waiting humanity to come together presently, to unify our hearts and contact out this pathetic new world order timetable. This is being driven on each person globally in the meantime. This is the fifth dimensional timeline that the white hats want for us to be centered on at this time. The power of our cognizance is truly unfathomable and almighty, and when a couple of us come together in alignments with this remarkable vision, that is certainly God's vision for humanity. Then, and most effective than though all of the forces in the universe rush forward to support within the fast implementation and actualization of this timeline. Humanity has an obligation to reject tyranny that is a part of the unique constitution of this sacred land, and in that all sacred lands that we, as God's children, are not fulfilling our obligations to our future generations. If we sit back silently and say nothing about the illogical tyranny that is in search of to control us. I'm receiving steady visions of communities coming out in their houses, hugging every other and coming collectively in large gathering, dancing and celebrating our freedom. I am receiving regular visions of regulation enforcement officers awakening out of this bad illusion of serving masters who did not for 1 second have had humanity's interests at heart. I see them putting down their shields, setting out their helmets, and becoming a member of their brothers and sisters in celebration of our everlasting and perpetual freedom as kids of the most excessive. We've got an absolute responsibility to come together collectively and say no. And as the Sausage, we've a responsibility to keep fast and keep constant to the vision of this timeline, knowing that the extra of us who decide to hold in this vision, the quicker we will appear and align with the timeline of a new 5D Earth. We are being requested to come back together in our soul corporations and Ascension organizations in order to together visualize and consequently encore this timeline hastily for the collective, that we may efficaciously flow out of this lower dimensional, deep kingdom lockdown agenda. As we've arrived at this precipice, it's so essential that we come together in our global ascension groups at some stage in these instances to help the forces of light who are doing Father God's best work, the next great work that we are all being called collectively for is the effective and incredibly auspicious 6.8 worldwide transmission. Please know we are absolutely and completely supported by the highest galactic beings in Advent. The time whereby darkness has ruled over this earth is entire. The forces of light had been victorious. There was no other plan. God does not want a plan B, as plan A has usually been. Victory to the light, and victory to the light is wherein we stand right now as a collective rising humanity. It is my greatest honor to invite you, my brother and sister, to come back and be a part of this global community to activate all of our great factors at the auspicious 6.8 transmission. Please recognize that you do not need to be at the live call to acquire the strength of the transmission. It is just as powerful to sing in at any point afterwards at this frequency will be anchored within the zero factor field, which is the moment of the eternal now. In love and eternal light. And please don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you.